Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you another Combat Patrol video. No, I'm joking. I'm messing with you. I'm not still talking about the Combat Patrol. I am talking about a unit in it today. Also, let me know if that works because I want to know if it's just a me thing or if it's a everybody thing. Like, who immediately forgets the topic of the video after they click the video? Like, I know I'm putting the Biovore like on the thumbnail. Like, does anybody else? Okay, just me. Anyway, I want to talk about the Biovore because it's come up enough, and in these years of this year, in 10th edition, this year of doing videos for 10th edition, has it been a year? I don't know. Either way, covering 40k 10th edition. I don't think I've talked extensively about the Biovore itself. And that's because I don't think there's much to be said. Until now, but not at the same time. I think I've slightly avoided this topic even though I've answered it. I haven't addressed it in video. And I'm yapping a lot to say, yeah, everybody tells you to take a Biovore. And the reason you take a Biovore is because, well, it makes spore mines. And the spore mines do things for us. They score us some secondaries that ask you to be in places. They screen out your backfield. They screen out other shit on the board. Spore mines, pretty good. So, the Biovore spawning it makes it pretty good. Harpy, not very good, unfortunately. But, alas, and also let's look at the spore mine itself. You have Bio Minefield. Enemy units cannot start or end in advance within 6 inches of this unit. And if things are within 3 inches, it goes pop, deals some mortal wounds. Now, the sport mine and the Biovore. It has been a thing that I've seen a lot of my comments a lot throughout this time that people, for us, do hope that it gets nerfed so that GW can see that a lot of our win rate involves bringing this thing. And I'm of 1.5 mines. I would say 2 mines, but here's the thing. I don't love that method of balancing because it relies very heavily on GW getting it right. In every game, when you take away the one thing, it depends on making the rest better and actually doing favorable compensation. When in reality, if they were to make spore mines not do anything, right? They no longer can do anything, can't do anything. What would happen, in my opinion, right? I don't know this for a fact, but what I would see GW do is, oh, they make it 40 points per Biovore, 210 for a Harpy, and call it a day. Then our win rate falls, and then we go, hey, so like as you can see, we dropped 5% off our win rate because that a lot of our game plan relies around this one fucking unit. Are you going to help us? And then GW goes, no. Here's 5 points off Tyrant Guard. Fuck it. Or a Tyrannocyte. And then we go, well, that's not the fix that I wanted. Because that's just how it does. I don't have that much faith as other people to say, yeah, go ahead and nerf this. Because then they have to do something about that. Unfortunately, I just don't have that much faith. I have some faith in GW now that they're slowly starting to understand that some of the shit they wrote is kind of like whatever for like not just our faction, but every faction that as we're seeing the codexes come out and army rules being completely overhauled, right? But I just don't have that much faith, unfortunately. Because, like, here's another example, right? Orks. Bottom of the barrel. And I'm planning to dedicate another video about this. But Orks have been here very often this entire edition. And you go, but then they do good. And they immediately get nerfed. Every time it's like, oh yeah, Green Tide's killing it. Stop that. Bully boys? Stop that. More DACA? Stop that. And funny enough, looking at this, I did check this out. Tactical Brigade, hey, that's what you got. Stop that. So they nerfed it, but apparently it's now, right now, across 8 players, the best thing they have at the moment. So that's pretty funny that it still is. But as you know, everybody just had to keep going to Warhorde because every time something happens with Orks, they nerf it. So Orks have spent a lot of time in the bottom 5 percentage because every time they have something that's a little bit good, uh, the entire 40k community cries because a lot of people like playing Orks. Again, I'll dedicate a separate video to that, but I don't want us to be Orks. That's what I don't want. And I don't just mean that in the sense of being the worst win rate in the game. I mean that in the sense of when have we seen accurate compensation that was a fair trade off? I don't have too many good examples, and that's not just me being an ass. I probably, if I sat down and drafted this video out longer than I typically do draft these videos out, I might have better examples. Like Chaos Demons was decent. They found something to do with there. Um, but, you know, it is something also to be said that, hey, with compensation buffs to Necrons, somehow they're doing worse than Imperial agents, and somehow we're tied on the overall as Imperial agents. So I think, while GW has that benchmark of like 45 to 55, I think the benchmark should be, is your faction doing that much better than Imperial agents or worse, right? Like, I think that's the best the benchmark. I don't care how many players in games there are, that should not be happening. But yeah, that's why I'm scared to nerf the Biovore. And also, I said this along with when everybody wanted the Exocrine nerfed, okay? Hopefully, actually, we're not going to do that. We're just going to scroll up to it because I don't feel like having that accidentally dox me right now. But the Exocrine, it got nerfed. It flat out got nerfed. It went up in points, right? And did we suffer from it? A little bit. But the game also changed too. And, as we also have seen, it takes something much better coming out. Uh, we've seen the hyper-adapted Raveners start boosting some win rates for Vanguard Onslaught and Subterranean Assault. We've seen Subterranean Assault come out in general and just start boosting itself. But an entire faction around one unit should not be the thing. What was our compensation for the Exocrine? Hey, here's cheaper tyrants, right? You all love those. Here's some cheaper of that. And then we went, yeah, this still isn't doing much for us right now. Also, this list just went up 15 points because you also did the Tyran effect. So Tyran effects and the Exocrine, well, there goes that. Whew, that kind of hurts. So while you took down my Tyrant by, what was it, 15 points at the time, or 10? Something like that? Uh, you also nerfed the rest of my list. And the compensation was what as a faction? So, like, there's perfect example A of I don't have that much faith that if you completely nuke the Biovore, that we'll just be compensated ever. Because, yeah, let's continue down that path. The Hive Tyrant got cheaper. Flying Hive Tyrant got cheaper. Winged Hive Tyrant got cheaper. Flyrant. They both got cheaper. And Swarm Lord in that update, if I remember correctly, right? All got cheaper. But our list went up, and nothing happened. And then, what happened to the Tyrants later because of fucking Gilliman and Calgar? No, 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 Tyranids. No, how dare you have something unique and special where your one unit that your entire faction is built around gets to have -1 command point on per turn? No, how dare you? You have to do exactly like Gilliman and Calgar, and we see how that's worked out for both of us, right? No, in fact, that's what you have to do, okay? So, yeah, it's cheaper. It's the same exact cookie cutter. Like I said, the cookie cutterisms, or like I've said, I didn't say it in this video, the cookie cutterisms of 40k. Where, yeah, the Hive Tyrant and Winged Hive Tyrant are the same price as Demon Prince and Winged Demon Prince. Exocrine, Predator Destructor, Tyrannofex, the fucking Doomsday Arc, DDA. Right? And actually, is the DDA still 200? I don't remember. But they made it so that, hey, are you anti-tank? You go about that price point. Are you Hive? Sorry, are you Predator Destructor equivalent over there? Are you something that an army would like to use? Here's your price point here. While not diversifying and making sure that it still goes to the things that that faction is asking for. The other Hive Tyrants, the other Hive Tyrants, the Demon Princes, have loan up around some bullshit. They also provide shit around that's cool. Some of them have the reduced strat cost, some of them don't. Right? But they also do other things, and they have different stats. Like the Nurgle one is fucking T11, if I remember correctly, or T12. I'm trying to remember. But it's like, hey, they looked at the profile, did it around there, and they worked around. Now you could say there's a lot of Death Guard things that need to be reeled in. That's true. Hell, the fucking I always mix them up. Is it the bloat drone or the fucking other thing? Is essentially an exocrine, but 100 points. Ours doesn't fly. Anti-fly might fuck you over, I guess. Oh, sorry, right. That's not that one. Ours is 140, as you can see. So, again, that relies a lot on GW getting the act together before we're out of time. So, this could be a conversation for 11th edition, which is true. 11th edition, I would like to not have to have an auto take unit. But this circles back to a conversation I was having for an entirely different game. I guess I'll do a little plug here. I've been playing more Apex and just other things now. I'm going to try to get back into doing that. So here's the not 40k talk. But if you see those, sometimes I stream it on Twitch when my house isn't too hot. I don't have AC, so a loud fan on a mic, you will hear that. But, you know. So for Apex, I was having this discussion that there will always be something OP in auto include. You can never stop that. Something will always be valued to that point. And one thing that I've talked about that I definitely hate is the Lictor. We all know my feelings towards the Lictor, probably. Monster, why do you hate the Lictor more than you hate the Biovore? They're both almost auto include all the time. Why do you hate one more than the other? Because in my opinion, the Lictor is overvalued. There's other things to do its role. We don't have an alternative to the Biovore, and until we get that, I don't want to see it nuked. Personally. This also, if you saw my Mecha Break videos, I might be going back to that game too, is another way that a lot of us have been criticizing Mecha Break. It also has the same weird balancing problem where the devs seem to be new to this spiel of things. I know this isn't their first game from what I understand, but I don't know if they've delved into the hero shooter-ish thing. As you can see, I also play hero shooters if you're new around here. But to that point, it doesn't make sense to both nerf a thing and buff its counter at the same time. That's one thing that Mecha Break is struggling with right now. To put it in simpler terms for everybody to kind of understand, if a tank is too tanky, it doesn't make sense to nerf a tank and buff anti-tank at the exact same time. Because what you end up with is nobody bringing the tank. Because the tank can now no longer survive. Because you've made it easier for both non-tanks to kill it and tank killers to kill it. So now you have no reason to bring a tank, more or less in terms of efficiency. So, for the Lictor, I have other things that have fights first, infiltrate, loan up, stealth. Even have something now that has rapid ingress for free, possibly. And it has the caveat, the hyper adapted Raveners, just by the way, that you can do it, back to back per unit. However, the Lictor, I think the other thing is that I don't like how people misread it. You can only do rapid ingress for free once. You can't do it with multiple lictors, and if something else rapid ingress, you can't still do it. This does not have the clause. Actually, let me just show you, right? We're going to go to Hyper Adaptive Raveners just so I can show you. And can do so even if you've already targeted a different unit with this stratagem this turn. That's what the Hyper Adapted Raveners have. The Lictor does not. So, that's one other thing. That's why I really don't like the Lictor as much, because it's a good unit. I'm not saying that it's bad by any means. I think that it doesn't do as much as people think it can, or think it does. There's other things that you can fill in that 60, 120 points because everybody's bringing 2 Lictors. Actually, in a recent list, we've only seen 1. But there's other things that do 60 points worth of similar opportunities, right? The Biovore, we don't have another alternative that shits out Spore Mines into every corner of the board, screens it out, and has OC to hold our home field. That could be problem number 1. If you want to make it so that the Biovore itself has 0 OC, so that I have to spend some more points to put onto my home field, maybe. Right? Maybe then we start having a conversation there. But the other thing with that is, if we were to nuke the Biovore just tomorrow, right? The other problem is that it just asks you to put more points into a list that we don't have. If GW were to give us the Imperial Knights treatment of, hey, we've knocked down everything by 20%. 20% off all biomass usage, right? If that were the case, then maybe, let's see how many units are typically in a list. About 14, right? 13 to 14, typically for competitive lists, I think. If that could free up 2 or 3 units, then maybe you have something to go, yeah. But here's another one that I do like, and this is why I would want this unit to be cheaper. The Raveners themselves. If the Raveners themselves came down to 100 or so points, maybe less to be honest, then you have the uppy downy that can stay on your home field until you really don't care about it anymore, or go to your home field when you need it, as well as popping up in other places. If our game plan changed from needing a Biovore to needing Raveners, I think I'd be okay with that. I think that would be a decent substitute. Oh wait, I'm describing our best performing detachment, Subterranean Assault. So for that, if our game plan said, hey, here's some Raveners that do a thing, they can score you points over there, they can even possibly kill something, they can screen shit out if they pop up somewhere. But they have enough OC to hold your home field and kind of screen with 5 models. It's not the best screen, it's not the worst screen either. There's something along the lines of that we could start seeing a pathway past the Biovore. But SpaghettiOs, here's the next problem. I still want to screen things out so my Raveners can land somewhere. They have to still do 9 inches away from all your enemy shit. What's the best way to put something in a place so that I can make sure that I can land somewhere that I would prefer to land? SpaghettiOs. A Spore Mine coming out of a Biovore. Now, for other people, and as we've seen in the list, that could be Gargoyles. And some of the list, we've seen, of course, again, Lictor. But you still see Biovore across those lists as well. Because I need to find a way to drop my Raveners, cough, there we go, my Raveners somewhere. I still need that to happen. So unfortunately, I think that this is another thing, kind of like how I was talking about Invasion Fleet, or that I've talked about Invasion Fleet, where GW has designed itself into a hole. Just outright designed itself into a hole that there might not be no escape. Well, there's definitely no escape for the rest of this edition, in my opinion. And hell, 11th edition, with the rumors that 11th edition might not be a complete overhaul of systems too. And honestly, they've done a lot of. Admittedly, I like some of the work that they've done on 10th edition. I do. Um, and a comment made me realize something that I'm also going to make a video about. It is going to be a Tyranids video. What I'm going to talk about. So that should be the next video after this, I think. It made me realize something that should have been in my face. Um, about looking back at things from past editions and liking where they are in this edition, or the close approximations to it. I talk a lot in videos about things that used to be into, maybe not that much, maybe more than other channels nowadays, but used to be on Tyranids that if we had now would be comfortable. I think we'd be at a comfortable spot for some of these things. Uh, and it's things that what do you want to carry over for the long haul? Do I want the Toxicrene to be be bad for a what 15th edition? I don't. Okay, I know we're going to 11th, so like, fourth. Has the Toxicrene ever been good? I don't think so. When did it release? Anyway, for at least the third edition in a row. No, probably not. I don't think I would love that. But there's some units that are so don't fumble this that I'd ask them to come back, and they did have to do a delicate dance of. Well, warriors were kind of annoying. Hive Guard were kind of annoying. How do we make them not do that while writing rules for a new edition? I don't know. But Biovore, I mean, hey, if you look at all of our art, there's a lot of spore mines in it. If you made it so that plot twist, spore mines were free. Okay, no. Who am I kidding? Let's not do that. Spore mines. Let's go back. If I didn't have to pay 55 points for spore mines themselves, or if they were a mechanic for us, if they were an integral mechanic for us, not integral, inherent mechanic for us, such as the miasma plagues for fucking Death Guard, well, no longer Grim tokens. I gotta be honest, I have to read up on what Votan does now. I don't fucking really understand that system yet. I know it's simple, but I'm just like, how is this better? Oath of Moment, like type of shit where it's just like, hey, every time, hey, you're playing Tyranids. Every time you end a move, put a spore mine somewhere. I don't fucking know. Then maybe I'd be like, yeah, nuke the Biovore because we just make spore mines. But like that's something integral to us, like the Shadow and the Warp, like Synapse, uh, like our little peeps, the Gaunts and the Warriors, right? Those are things that are integral to us. So if there was something to that identity effect where it just happened, I'd be okay with the Biovore getting nuked off the face of the planet. But as it stands, and to that point, you could talk about previous editions where the Biovore wasn't that needed. But I just, at this current point, don't have faith that GW knows a good out to if they were to make us the next Orks, right? Orks have been bad a lot of times in this edition. And honestly, I think it's the perceived effect. I think Orks, if they really fucking tried, still can do things. Like, as you can see, there's a fucking win here somehow. But they really do run on imagination. I know that's actually like a meme or joke or whatever the fuck, but talking to Orc players, I'm convinced that you all have to believe it for it to happen. But same with Space Marines, like both of them, bottom two. Like, how? Uh, but they're here, and that's what happens. GW does a minor tweak to Calgar and Gilliman. Right, in their eyes, it's a minor tweak. And Space Marines fall on their fucking face. Even though Gladius is still pretty damn good, right? Gladius is still the bee's knees for everything Space Marine. Okay? And then minor tweak fucks us over a little bit too, right? We catch some flack, and I'm tired of catching flack for Space Marine shit. But GW, in that recent go round, as we can see, here's a game wide change that affects more than one faction, and both of them are hurting from it. 3 of our detachments looking like this, and one being completely unplayed. Is it just one? Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many do we have? Yeah, it's just unending swarm that's not being played, right? Sure, let's go with that. But with most of them being, well, 3 of them being in the 30s, 2 of them being below 50, one of them having one person that decided to go 2 games out of, I'm assuming 5, or played 4 games, and they said, yeah, I'm not playing the 5th. Whatever happened here, being the 50%, I don't know. I'm not sold that GW would ever have an answer past this. But moving on, maybe if they design something. But I don't know. It requires more than just the Biovore for that to happen. I want an army rule that does something for us, not just here's a once per game possible debuff to your opponent, or absolutely nothing could happen. I don't want here's fucking leadership. Honestly, I really don't care about that mechanic. Now it's better than auto dying if you're not in synapse range. That's a good one, right? That's a good one. We've progressed past that. Or did it even end up at mortal wounds? It was just straight up death, right? Don't know. But it's better than just not dying if you're not in synapse, right? That, or dying if you're not within synapse. It's better. We've made past that. But +1 strength on things that aren't really well equipped for fighting, it's whatever, right? So I think it takes more than just the Biovore, and I don't think GW is equipped for that task anytime soon. TM, like that sounds really bad. That does sound really bad. I don't really know how to sugarcoat that any better. But I don't know. Sometimes I look and I go, yeah, that's actually a good next step. Like the World Eater Codex, I kind of treat, honestly, I treat a lot of 40k factions like Orks and Space Marines. I throw Custodes and World Eaters in there too, where it's like, well, on paper, it seems like this should be pretty good. And honestly, hold on. You're at 50% with 4 wins, even though every World Eater player I know is telling me that it's the worst thing since moldy bread. So I don't know. Sisters are getting up there too. Sisters are getting up there. You reverted Miracle Dice. Like an army mechanic is, hey, how about playing the game differently? How about you remove some RNG at the cost of cheap-ish units, right? Like, I don't. It takes too much. It takes too much that I don't have faith that if the Biovore get nuked, that there would be some compensation somewhere, anywhere soon, that would make me feel good about it. So, uh, this isn't just that was a dumb joke about the Tyranid Assault Brood, where I'm talking about the combat patrol again, because there's like not a lot to talk about. But Biovore, oh my Biovore, wherefore out thou, my Biovore. It's a unit. It is a unit of all time. Does it deserve the title of our best unit? Qualifies what you call best. Like if it makes us win an additional 2% of our games, 2% win rate overall, probably our best unit, but there needs to be a lot of compensation to make that happen that I just don't know if GW would ever realistically feel comfortable with. Like, you make it 0 OC, so I have to put something else on my home field that's just asking me to spend at least 50 more points. Like, what is that? What is our cheapest thing with OC? The Neurogons, right? 45? Yeah, probably the Neurogons. So you're just asking me to spend 45 points. Now, if everything is cheaper by at least, if I get 45 points to my list, maybe, sure, fuck it, I guess. Um, but yeah, that's where it is. That's my thoughts on the matter of the Biovore. I don't say this to say, hey, anybody that suggested it, I don't like it, but it's just I don't have enough faith in GW that there would ever be an answer in the near future if they nuke this off the face of the planet that I would feel comfortable with them implementing and not just fumbling it so that we're Orks all edition. So yeah, or the rest of the edition, whatever the fuck that happens. But yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.